Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to make some easy Valentine decor using only things that I already have on hand, so let's get started. For the first project, I started by gluing 3 different sized styrofoam balls together. I made a flat spot on the bottom of each ball and then used a toothpick and glue to attach them together. After the glue was dry, I rolled out a thin layer of air dry clay and covered the styrofoam. Next, I glued a toothpick to the sides of the middle styrofoam ball and then rolled out a small log shape of clay. I then added this over the toothpick and used a clay tool to blend it to the body. I also used a little bit of water to smooth the clay. Next, I sculpted the features on the face using small balls of clay and then using the clay tools to smooth it out and also to sculpt the mouth. I then poked 2 holes through the hands and set it aside to dry overnight. To make the crown, I used a small piece of trim and hot glued the ends together. I then covered the entire thing with regular white glue. When the glue was dry, I painted it with gold paint. For the base, I started by giving it a coat of paint and setting it aside to dry. I also gave the snowman a coat of paint and then painted the face. I used a paint pen to paint the eyes and mouth. Next, I gave it a coat of antiquing wax. This is just a personal preference for me. You do you on this part as to whether you like that or not. I then glued it to the wood base and then glued on the crown. I didn't like that you could see all the different wood layers on the sides of the base, so I glued a piece of trim on to help conceal some of it. To make the tutu, I used some Dollar Tree tulle and then sewed a running stitch to make some gathers and then tied it around the waist. I also tied a piece of ribbon over top of the tulle. Next, I used the antiquing wax on the base to tone down the bright pink color. To make the banner, I cut some scraps of scrapbook paper into small tags and then stamped the letters onto these. I then attached them to a piece of metallic embroidery floss. Next, I used some gold dimensional paint to make heart-shaped buttons. I also used it around the base of the crown. To finish it, I tied the banner to the hands and added a small key. For the next project, I started by covering a tin can with glue and then sprinkling it with cinnamon. I usually paint the can brown first, but it's so cold here right now and it's taking too long for the paint to dry, so I skipped that step this time. I also added the glue and cinnamon to the Dollar Tree battery-operated candle. Just be sure you don't glue it together where you need to put the batteries. After the glue was dry under the cinnamon, I applied a coat of watered-down white glue over top of the cinnamon and then set it aside to dry. Next, I used 2 plastic candy canes and glued them together to form a heart. I then covered them using a strip of torn fabric and holding it in place with hot glue. I wanted them to be a little more grungy, so I covered them with some antiquing wax. Next, I used a piece of scrap drop cloth and stamped the word love to it. I then glued it to the tin can. Next, I added some scraps of styrofoam to the can and then covered it with Spanish moss. For the candy cane hearts, I added a piece of wire to the bottom of them. I then made a heart pattern and traced it onto some fabric scraps, which I then sewed together and then stuffed with polyfill. I added some trims to the heart and then glued a stick to the bottom of it. I also glued a stick to the bottom of the candle holder. Next, I started adding all the pieces to the can. I kept adding pieces until I was happy with the way it looked. For the last project, I'm starting with a wood cutout. I got it from the Target Dollar Spot in 2019. I'm also using a faux tin tile from Dollar Tree. I started by using an X-Acto knife and removing the center of the tile. I then traced around the heart and cut it out. Next, I attached it to the wooden heart using hot glue. I then painted the entire thing. Next, I cut out a small Valentine print that I found in my stash. I traced where it will be placed and then painted that area white. I then decoupaged the picture onto the oval. When that was dry, I used a two-step crackle over the image. Next, I covered the entire thing with antiquing wax and then used gold wax paste to highlight the raised design. I then glued a piece of trim around the outside edge and used gold glitter glue around the image. To finish it, I added a few small greenery sprigs and a bow. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed these easy Valentine projects, and I'll see you in the next video.